Well, in this episode, we ask ourselves, do you need a 6-inch pocket knife? Well, that's right, folks. We have the biggest pocket knife I have ever tested or reviewed here on the channel today. We are looking at the Cold Steel Luzon 6-inch folder. Now, they do make a 4-inch version of this, exactly the same in every way, just 4 inches instead of 6. This is literally, I saw it and I said, wow, for $40 I can get a 6-inch pocket knife. I gotta get it just to get it, just to test it out, just to have fun, just to get outside the box, get a little crazy. Here's an ESEE6, just to give you some perspective there. There you go. I mean, this thing is mind-bogglingly huge. It will actually fit in most of my pockets of like my 511 Apex pants and those type of things. And for $40, we're just gonna see today what it can do, what it can't do, and it's not a matter of do you need it, but do we need it and do we want it? I mean, how bad do you want a 6-inch pocket knife to be EDCing if the opportunity presents itself? So let's break this knife down and see what it can do. All right, here we go. SRK from Cold Steel. This is the SK5 version. About the same, almost the same price as the knife that we are looking at here today. The full-size 6-inch Luzon. Yeah, that's a bigger knife than the SK5. Had to show, or the SRK, excuse me. Had to show you guys perspective. This thing is so ginormous. This is the biggest, most insane pocket clip I've ever seen, or pocket clip, yes, it has that too, but pocket knife I have ever seen in my life. Huge, this 6-inch version. Again, there is a 4-inch version, which obviously is way more practical, but nowhere near as cool and awesome and powerful and comical all at the same time. So just had to leave that there, and I'll just keep this up here for some size perspective as we go through this design. So right out of the gate, we are looking at an overall handle length here of 7.5 inches. Overall, from front to back, you're looking at a height from top to bottom of 1.25 inches, and it's gonna have a thickness of 0.75. So basically like, basically this knife right here. I mean, look at that. There's the SRK. There's this guy. I mean, this is basically, I mean, and the handle obviously is way, way longer. So massive, surprisingly can fit in my pocket in most of my pants without issue, particularly my 511 Apex that you saw, my cool pants that I wear a lot, my 511 jeans. I think maybe it wasn't quite going all the way 100% in, but I mean, surprisingly, it will actually fit there. Now, I'm not going to tell you that like, oh yeah, you can actually like EDC it without an issue. I mean, this is a 9.8 ounce knife. I mean, that's how heavy this thing is. That's more than the SRK. I think the SRK is like 8. So this weighs more than a fixed blade. But if you like carrying that, you could put it in your back pocket. You could absolutely, in most more tactical feeling pants, I mean, your Dockers are probably not going to be able to handle this, but could do it. Now, this does not, or maybe you can. I think, no, this is not an ambidextrous pocket clip, but it's one of those polymer pocket clips that Cold Steel used to do back in the day from the owner. I was watching a video from, I think, like Blade Show West or something. He actually really likes these because it is very contouring and it feels really good. No, it doesn't create any hot spots. So he's actually bringing some of those back. It is on purpose that they're doing that, but it won't swap ambidextrously, and I did not see an ambidextrous pocket clip in there. If I am wrong in that, I'm sure somebody can tell me, but to my knowledge, this is a right-handed only pocket clip. Now, the handle material is GRN, so kind of looks like bamboo. It's designed after, I think, like some Filipino knives or small machetes. So you're going to get good contouring, no hot spots or anything like that, and it's going to feel like you're holding a fixed blade in your hand. Now, the interior steel liners there have been machined out, as you can see there, which is great. So they really, you know, for the price, you're getting a lot of effort put into this pocket knife, which is pretty sweet. The other thing is that this has bronze bushings. So this thing is insane on deployment that we'll get to in just a moment. But the handle ergonomics themselves feel fantastic. I mean, you can see there I could basically two-hand this thing like a little samurai sword if I needed to. You can back up. Got huge amount there. Good ergonomics, no real issues. You do have that top bottom guard that are going to totally lock you into place. I can absolutely get over it, you know, if I was doing carving on a campsite or something like that, or just wanted more precision on my cardboard cutting or whatever it is, but still really good guards, you know, for stabbing and piercing and slashing if you needed to. So, I mean, yeah, it's a 7.5-inch handle, but if you can fit it in your pocket, it's actually not too bad. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and look at lockup and deployment. So right out of the gate, we got nice centering, no issues there. Been playing with this thing a ton, hasn't floated to the right or to the left. Part of that is because it's got nice bronze phosphorus bushings in there, which makes for insane deployment, guys. I mean, the deployment is mind-boggling on this thing. Buttery smooth. In the past, I think cold steel would usually just do polymer on the steel. So, you know, it's kind of tight, and this deployment is nuts. The downside to that deployment is that the detent isn't super great. That's my one real critique with the knife, is I barely have to do anything to overcome the detent. I mean, it is there, you can feel it suck it in, but maybe just because of the weight of the blade, I don't know. It doesn't take a lot to get it to come out and overcome the detent. So that's my only critique on such a heavy knife. I mean, I can literally, you can see that I barely whip this thing and it's gonna deploy. But it is the smoothest, fastest deploying cold steel I've ever seen on the market. I mean, it is nuts compared to like a Recon or like a Lawman or something like that. The bronze bushings that they went with are bananas on this, and it makes it, for such a large knife, very easy to deploy. So you got a finger flipper, very easy to do, like that aspect, no problem there. Then we have thumb studs that you can absolutely purchase right here, and whoosh, flip that guy open. Those thumb studs will act as the stop bar. There is no internal stop bar or anything like that. They just hit the steel frame lock on either, or frame on either side. And then there's really good lockup that we'll talk about in a second. The final way is you can use this guard piece right here as kind of like an Emerson wave, or Cold Steel has their own kind of version of that, like on the AK-47, and I think a couple of their other folders. You can absolutely catch this on your pocket lip as you pull it out and deploy the blade that way if you want to do it that way. So there's 3 different ways you can deploy it. That is awesome. So it's basically a one motion deploying for tactical use. Now, I don't recommend using a knife for tactical use, and unless you're trained and you know your laws and all those things. But if you are looking for a ginormous folder to be able to be deployed as fast as possible, this can absolutely be deployed faster than most other pocket knives and most other cold steel pocket knives, and particularly with that size, that's nuts. Now on to the lock back, or sorry, the frame lock, not frame lock, liner lock. I'll get to it. But the liner lock. Now, Cold Steel is starting to do some liner locks for the pure reason that it opens the availability for different designs. Certain designs you can't make with their classic a triad locking system, which arguably is one of the best locking mechanisms, strongest locking mechanisms on the market. So they have decided to start to go into some liner locks, and they have a secondary backup feature here that we'll look at in just a second. But you can see there the liner lock is really well done. Hits good about 50% of the blade right there, and is easy for me to disengage and bring it back without engaging any secondary features. I can feel just a hair of wobble side to side and none up and down. This is a very solid lockup. And then they have the secondary feature right here, which is this little slide bar. So you slide it forward, and what that does, and hopefully we can see that here on frame, you can see this little guy move in here. Look at that. So that moves forward, then I cannot disengage the liner lock. It will not allow me to kick it to the side. Then I kick that back into place, and then I can close the blade. So that's kind of how that all works together. Is it cool? Yeah. Is it needed? Maybe. I don't know. That, you know, Cold Steel is known for their, you know, hard lockup, solid lockup stuff. It's a good backup. It is loud. It kind of rattles around a little bit, but you know, it's totally flush, really easy to engage and then disengage. It will not lock the blade into place. So that's something to note as well. It won't like keep it from opening. It's just to keep the liner lock from closing on yourself. So there you go. That aspect to the blade, aside from a kind of weak detent, is like freaking amazing, and how smooth, fast, in 3 ways that you can deploy, and the blade and the liner lock with the backup lock works very well. Now, one last thing I wanted to touch on is I had a bunch of people, so maybe there was an issue before, I'm not seeing any issue, commenting on the back end here about like, was the blade caught or catching? I don't know if the blade used to be extending too far or something like that, but you guys can see here, and hopefully this camera is gonna work with me. There we go. Even when I jam my finger in here, I can't even feel the blade. When I'm like going in like that, it's recessed in quite a bit. Definitely not when I'm doing this. It's not going to catch on anything, not going to accidentally open or get nicked or anything like that. And it's recessed in probably a good centimeter down inside as well. So there's no way to like catch it, nick it, or have it come out. I mean, you really got to like move the blade some to get it to come out like that. And it's in there. I mean, you're not I can play all over the place with this. There's no nicking or accidentally catching the blade and it pulling out or anything like that. Some people were commenting on the fact that that either maybe was once an issue or I don't know. I purchased this about 3 weeks ago in the middle of October, basically, is kind of when I purchased this blade. So maybe if there was an issue that I'm not aware of, they fixed it. All right, now finally to the blade itself. We are looking at 6 1/4 inches of actual blade length and then 6 inches from actual cutting edge. So 6 inches actual cutting edge, total from like back here, 6 1/4 overall length. This is gonna have a flat grind, so not a hollow grind. This does have a flat grind, and it has a really nice, fuller there, huge, massive, clip. Kind of reminds me of like a K-bar fighting utility knife with that good swedge there. 90-degree spine. You could absolutely throw sparks off of that bad boy right there. And it's got a really good precise tip, but still rather strong right there. So penetrating, slashing, definitely looks like a fighting utility knife, combat knife, but it has full functionality. It is .14, so that's nice, just a hair over 1/8 of an inch thick, but not, like a 1/4 inch or something like that. And it's made out of HCR 13 MOV steel. Now, cold steel is known for doing good heat treats. This is a good heat treat on HCR 13 MOV. I would argue it's better than what Kershaw does, and I'm really happy with it. Again, I'm getting in my opinion, like this crazy novelty, insane, fun, but practical, like capable folding knife. And I'm not having to pay $80, $100. I would not buy this. If this was $100, I wouldn't have paid for it. It's too big and insane. But for $40, it's just crazy fun to have. Take it on my next hiking trip or camping trip with the family, and we're just gonna have fun with it and just have a blast goofing around with this knife. And I paid $40 for it, the same as most little pocket knives that are HCR from Kershaw or from other manufacturers, CRKT, kind of thing. So it's very doable. It's an easy steel to resharpen. You can get a wicked edge back on it. The blade can absolutely do anything a 6-inch knife can do. I mean, you can carve with it, you can feather stick with it, you can cut rope, nylon, cardboard is insane. This because it's so much blade to go through. You can just whoosh, slide through, rubber and material, and then stab and penetrate if you need to. There's a lot that you can do with this knife because of how big the blade is, the flat grind, the thickness they chose, and the relief edge, and then the HCR holds a decent edge. You can resharpen it real quick. It's not a super steel by any means. Their AUS-8 that cold steel uses, I like a little bit more. This is close, but just not quite as good on edge retention. And again, you're not gonna break the bank with such a crazy nuts, folder. I mean, it's bananas. Look at that. It's just dwarfing the SRK in its size. So, for a budget-friendly, crazy, huge pocket knife, it's basically a really awesome performer. It's comical, guys. It's comical what this thing can do and how big it is. Schwabam. I mean, just imagine sitting at your local McDonald's and you have to bust this out to open your kid's toy and how many stares you would get. It's actually pretty awesome for $40 to get a knife that can fit in your pocket that's this size and is, HCR 13 MOV, decent steel. I know plenty of other pocket knives that are half the size, rocking that steel, wanting that same price point. I don't know, what do you say about a 6-inch pocket knife? If you're looking for it, do it. You're not going to regret it. For the price to value to size to performance, it's insane. Am I going to be EDCing this on a regular basis? No. It's so ginormous. If I needed something this big, I'd probably be rocking a fixed blade. I'd be rocking my Cold Steel Warcraft or something like that. But for just fun factor, maybe you live in a really green environment and you need to do that. I mean, whatever. You won't be disappointed. I mean, it's a total fun and functional tool if it fits a need for you. hopefully this video has just shown you what the Luzon can do and whether or not it's the right tool for you. Guys, this has been fun. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it. Thanks for joining us today. Please subscribe if you're not a current subscriber. We're throwing out videos all the time here at the channel, having a great time, having a blast. Yeah, check us out on Instagram, social media, all that. Don't forget about the mailbag, hashtag mailbag. You might get a question answered, like, hey, will you buy a 7-inch pocket knife next? Yeah. So let's have fun, guys. Let's continue the conversation. Let's continue this awesome relationship we have here at the channel, testing out gear and having a good time doing it. So thank you so much. Always remember, stay equipped. With this knife, you would always be prepared, and I'll see you out there.